Welcome to another episode of Real Talk with Ola. On today's episode, I have a beautiful guest. She is a social worker and she's very, very passionate about DV and family abuse. So join me in welcoming Dami.
Hello everyone, thank you so much Ola for inviting me here today.
Welcome.
It's a pleasure being here, thank you.
You're welcome. So today, let's dive into our topic today. We're talking about domestic violence. So Dami, can you give us a short definition or meaning of DV?
Yeah, well, a lot of people think domestic and family violence is just about physical abuse, but it's way beyond and quite complex. So domestic and family violence is when a person uses violent or coercive control tactics to have power and control over another person in an intimate or family relationship. And statistics have shown that domestic violence is often perpetrated by men against women. However, anyone can be a victim or abuser of domestic and family violence.
It cuts across
Everyone. Yeah.
everyone. So when we talk about domestic violence, is it only between husband and wife, or in the family? Maybe the children, are they affected too?
Yeah. So domestic abuse, like I said, it could be between intimate relationship, husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, de facto relationship, or between siblings, uncles, auntie, mother, daughter, father. So within a family setting or an intimate relationship. And of course, kids are impacted when they're exposed to such abuse. And domestic abuse also, it's a repeated pattern of abusive behaviors over a period of time. So it's not just a one-off thing, or like it's a certain pattern an abuser have chosen to have control over the other person.
Person. Wow. So do we have like many types of
Yes,
violence?
like I said, it's not just limited to physical abuse. So there's psychological abuse, there's fear and intimidation, there's financial abuse, there's gaslighting, there's religious abuse, there's social abuse, economic abuse, there's threats.
There's sexual abuse too.
There's sexual abuse, basically anything the person does for the purpose to have power and control over the other person. So it could be anything, basically.
Wow, it could be anything.
Yeah, it could even be me just staring at you, but knowing that me staring at you in a certain way is passing a message of fear to you that if you don't do what I'm asking you to do, you might get in trouble. Or even me shouting. I could shout with a friend and it's not abuse. But if then I'm doing it to someone in my family or in an intimate relationship for the purpose to have power over that person, then that's abuse.
Wow.
So it can be anything.
It can be anything. It can be kids to the parents.
Yeah.
Because
Using your
we've
kids,
seen situations like that where the kids, they take weapon and kill their parents.
Yeah. So like with domestic and family abuse, like most perpetrators, it's a learned behavior. So a child that is exposed in a family setting where that one party is abusive towards the other, they see these things, they perceive these things, and if care is not taken, they mirror these behaviors. And a lot of people in some settings, one party will try to use the children as pawn to go against the other person. So yes, kids can be used as a tactic to abuse.
Is it limited
the
to
other
a race or tribe, or does it cut across?
Cut across everything. So it doesn't see status, it doesn't see race, it doesn't see religion.
It doesn't see color?
Anyone can be impacted and be a victim.
In any tribe, any tongue, so domestic violence abuse. So let's come to our home community. When you talk about, we know that in Australia, it is very, very, it is what is going on out there now, that the government is trying to provide solution to.
Yeah.
So, but in our community, is it really happening?
Yeah. Culture, religion is an intersecting factor. However, culture is not an explicit indicator of disadvantage of risk for ones to have DV or experience DV. However, it can be an increased risk of exposure due to how they perceive domestic abuse, due to the narrative they've been given by their culture or religion. And it could also be an increased cost of lots of barriers to seeking support. Yes, so it can impact in some ways, but that doesn't mean that's like a massive indicator for DV.
For DV.
Yes.
Okay. So when you were talking about different types of DV, domestic violence, you talk about psychological, you talk about sexual, financial. Can you give us an example, of maybe a psychological abuse that could happen in our own community?
It could be a lot of things. It could be downgrading you. So there's a lot of things people say, he loves me, and love is enough. But love is the thing that got you into it at first. Because I say to everyone, this person interacts with thousands of other people, but do they abuse them for every little thing that happens? No. So they made that choice to choose you, to abuse you, because you love them, you trust them, and they're able to get underneath your skin and like go beyond and above to like break you.
Okay.
So
they prey on
basically,
you.
yeah, they prey on you and they break you. So it could be like making you feel less of yourself. There's one example I use. You're an amazing, beautiful woman. You know it. Everyone can see you're very pretty.
Yes.
But if you live with me and I say to you every single day, morning, afternoon, night, that all are you ugly. All are you ugly. When you look into the mirror after a certain period of time, you tend to see yourself ugly. That's psychological abuse. So the minute you start questioning your judgment about things, you second guess yourself, you're being treated like you're the problem, you're not good enough, you're not doing well, you're undermining your ability in everything. Whereas it could even be that person sabotaging you not to get to full capacity to do things. So it's basically just bringing you to the lowest, so you're fully dependent on them.
Yeah, cool. So like now I want to give you a scenario. Like, we know that domestic abuse happens. It cuts across race and culture. I want to give you an example of a typical example. Let's look at this case scenario. Like a spouse has been living abroad for a while, and then he now went back home to bring his partner, his or her partner. So, and when the partner comes here, do you understand what I'm saying? Yeah, because I've seen it happening. Like, what type of abuse could possibly happen in that case scenario?
Yeah, so there could be a lot of fear and threats, because when you bring your partner in here, they don't automatically become a citizen like yourself. So there are several visas they have to go on. So the threats of the fear of, if you're not careful, I'm not going to make you a permanent resident.
That's
or citizen.
psychological.
Yeah, and that's a form of threat. Or it could even be social abuse, isolating you from people, because information is power, and when you socialize with other people,
you get to know what
you
is
get to
going
know
on.
what's happening. You become wiser, you see things, you have that power and control, you get valued, and you see that, oh, I've got some self-worth and I don't need this. So they'll try to isolate you and keep you. And like I said, an independent, beautiful, confident woman can go into a relationship, and what that person would do is that person would break you into pieces, whereby you're completely dependent on them and feel like you can't do anything without them.
You can't do anything
So
without
it could also be financial abuse, ensuring that you're not working, sabotage every form of work, so you're fully dependent on them in terms of your financial ability to get things. Or it could even be like social abuse, like I said, not going out there, so you can get yourself a job, you don't have people you're talking to, or even like cutting ties with families, isolating you from your families, because then if you're talking to your families, one way or the other, they get to know something is going wrong, and you get to speak to them, and they try to help you, and they don't want that happening. Yeah.
Wow, this is getting deeper, like okay, the abuser in this case scenario, whether man or woman, do they actually know that they are abusive?
Yeah, it's a matter of choice. So they're doing it solely for the purpose to have power and control. So they are aware and they know. However, they would never admit it.
So they live in denial.
Exactly. So it's always the blame on the other person. They actually act as the victim and make you like the problematic one or the crazy one, causing everything to happen.
That is true. You've mentioned something about the capacity, when people are in control and they make you feel less of yourself, you can go. So what are some reasons why a victim won't leave an abusive situation?
Well, there are so many reasons. For some people, it could just be the threat of, if you try to leave me, I'm going to kill you.
Cool.
Yeah, and not just saying the threat, because someone could threaten you, I would kill you, and be like, oh, he doesn't have the capacity to do it. But now they say those threats, and they show you like maybe even staring at a weapon and telling you how they can use that weapon in you, or even giving you ideas of how they can kill you, or start physically abusing you to see how they can actually carry on with that threat. And for some people, it's because they are not fully dependent on you in terms of finances, accommodation. So what happens? Where do I go to? I have no family here. Who do I speak to? Or the fact that they've painted you as the crazy one in the family, and everyone is gonna like, what are you talking about? The person, the abuser, can't even auto fly. Wow. So they are being portrayed as that peaceful, nice, loving person. So no one is going to believe that you're being abused by that saint. So how do you go out there without being judged? And again, it could even be shamed. I failed in my marriage. Like I said, our culture makes us perceive DV in a different way, and makes it feel like you failed in a marriage because you didn't endure well, or you were into submissive, or you didn't do things you should do to keep that home, that marriage. Yeah. So there could be a lot of things, and for some people, a very common one, I'm staying for my kids. Because what happens?
I think that is very common. Most people stay in the abusive relationship because of their kids. But if you are out there, please speak out. So how do we've talked about people, the abuser taking control, and can it lead to health issues?
Yeah. So a lot of people have had PTSD. They've had depression, anxiety, financial hardship. A lot of people have been getting really sick because mentally they are not well.
Wow.
So yeah, it could lead to heart diseases, basically anything.
Infertility.
If you're not well up there, every other thing wouldn't go well.
So do you think that even our health practitioners like the GP should have a form of power screening people with
I believe every medical practitioners are well trained to see those subtle indicators of victims who are being abused. However, they also have to assess and if it's the right time to speak about it. Because if you have a small window, or if you have an abuser with you in an appointment, you definitely don't want to start asking about if this person is being abusive. However, they can always create that time whereby they provide information to those people and talk to them about services that can support them and doing a referral. In some cases, because they have that choice also, they tend to say no to it. But then again, the GP or the medical practitioner still goes ahead to provide a referral without consent. But then again, that's them helping out, because they are mandatory reporters. They have to report to the police if a child is involved or if someone. Yes, so there are different ways things are done. But at the end of the day, that person still has to make that choice of wanting to leave, because that is when that true power is being regained, because they're like, this isn't what I want and I want to leave this relationship.
So can they really leave?
Yeah. Sure, they can. And it takes a lot of courage and strength to do that. And it's not an easy situation. There are some situations whereby people tend to leave a relationship and they go back because they feel it's harder out there. Because it's not a smooth road. It's not a smooth ride. It's going to be lonely. It's going to be really hard. There's a lot of things that would happen. But then again, that is why they need a whole community to be able to help and support them to achieve that.
Yeah. So talking about community, do we have anything, any institution or anybody out there that can, be that are a source of support, to victims?
Yeah.
In our own community.
In our community, yes, the awareness of domestic and family violence it's increasing, and a lot of people have come out as activists or support workers, and they're really passionate and they want to. But the question is, how do you really help these people? We need to be receptive, we need to be open, and it's basically going to them and asking, how do I help? What do you need? They wear the shoes, they know where it hurts, they know where it bites, and they know what's best for them. All you need to do is provide the right information, create that safe space for them to trust you enough to talk to you, and then explore options with them. But truly, they have to be the one to choose, because the last thing you want to do is taking their voice and taking that control to helping them. Because when we love people, our loved ones, and we see them in bad situations, we really want to take them out of it. But is that what they want at that point? So it's following their pace and getting to that point where they trust you to provide that information. So let them lead and you follow. by helping them.
Not
Walk
you
alongside-
lording it over them.
No, don't do
Not you
that.
saying, okay, this is what you should do,
No.
giving them the.
Yeah. I know there's a lot of safety issue with DV, but we need to understand that these people, they've been in this relationship 5, 10, 20 years. And trust me, they've been safety planning all through, trying to keep themselves and their kids safe. So we need to trust them and trust their ability to make the right decisions, but we just need to support them.
So this question is to the community too. Do we as Africans have enough or adequate representative in this space?
I'll say we still shy away around it. And there's this thing everyone is talking about. This is not a story, it's a very controversial one. But people say, oh, it's this feminism bullshit or this feminism narrative of women wanting to be independent. But that's not it. That's something else. We're talking about giving women their voices and listening without any form of judgment. And because a lot of people are even ashamed to come out because they feel people would blame them. Judge them and do not even believe what they're saying. So it's pointless coming out. So just have that receptive spirit and openness into listening first without any form of judgment and trying to help.
Wow, so I'm trying to help. So
Yeah.
we need as a community to support.
Yeah.
You don't have to lord it over people. Just make sure that you ask them,
Yeah.
how do you want to be helped?
Oh, yeah.
So we are coming towards the end of this short episode. So Dami, I want you to look at the camera for the sake of our viewers, and if you have any advice for anyone who might be watching and listening and they are going through this domestic violence, what do you have to say to them?
Yes, so there's a question everyone tends to ask a lot. Do the abuser ever get to change? The answer is actually yes. An abuser can change, but then again, you need to ask yourself, do I change the abuser? No, that's not for you to do. We can't change anyone. So how can an abuser change? They have to first identify and admit that they're doing something wrong and be responsible for their actions, and then willingly and genuinely want to change. And it doesn't just happen like magic. It could take a couple of years. It could take that, and they have to search, to seek support and wanting to take baby steps to the adult one on wanting to change. So it's not going to happen like, oh, I'm going to change and tomorrow they've changed. And you need to also ask yourself these questions. Has it really changed? Am I able to talk about things he's not confident with or happy with without me being abused? Am I able to make decisions to have autonomy for things I don't or things that get him upset? So you will see the signs, and yes, they can change, but it takes a whole lot of process, and they have to be the ones to step up and be like, there's something I'm doing wrong, I need help, and I want to work towards changing. I would say for everyone trying to help someone out there, thank you so much, because it's a blessing having someone that can support you in a trying time. But I would also say, always think of safety. Ask yourself, what I'm doing at the moment, is it going to put them at more risk or help keep them safe? And always go to them. How can I help? What do you need for us to help you? Listen, active listening without judgment, and privacy, confidentiality. They're not saying things to you because they want you sharing it. And don't try to go ahead of them to give a solution. Sometimes they just want their voice being heard, because that is one thing that is always taken from them, their voice. So give them that opportunity to let them be heard and provide those information to get them to be empowered enough to take that bold step to build their self-worth and their self-esteem again, to then regain that power from that person using the violence or that perpetrator, because it's a whole lot of journey. It takes a lot of years, a long period of time to break them, and it's going to take a long time to get them to that point of self-actualization and self-esteem and self-worth again. So be patient, ride with them slowly, follow their pace, and thank you all so much for the opportunity.
Well, viewers, you have heard it all. That is a short episode we are bringing you today. So if you are out there and you are experiencing or you're going through a form of DV, please speak out. Find someone who you can trust. And if you don't have anybody to trust, you can go to a professional. You can, I think you're gonna...
So yes, at the end of this video, we're going to be highlighting several services. There are lots of services out there that are willing to support, that are really passionate to empowering women and helping their voice being heard. So please don't shy away from this. If you can talk to someone that you know, there are lots of people out there that would work together and explore options with you on how they can help you. And yes, please speak to someone. And
please speak to someone, because there's so many things we're hearing out there, and it is not good news. So it's not even exclusive to women, it's men too. Please, if you're experiencing something DV, please speak out. Speak to the professionals and they will help you. Please don't die there. So today, that is all for today, and I still remain Ola. Like, share, and even send us a comment. Thank you for watching. God bless.